Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EdgeVerse TechCast, your go-to place for everything related to NXP's software, tools, and enablement, provided for developers working with NXP devices. I'm Bridgette Stone, one of your co-hosts. How's it going today, Kyle?
Oh, Bridget, it couldn't be better. Hello, everybody, to the EdgeVerse. It's great to have everybody back. I'm Kyle Dando, and do we have a great episode for all of you today? Guess what, Bridget? We're going to get audited.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Audited?
Yeah,
That is not exactly my idea of fun, Kyle.
I agree. I don't really want to be audited either, but you know what? This is coming from our partner and our friend, Arrow Electronics. Arrow is one of our trusted distribution partners, but to be honest, they're also one of the best sources for us to receive feedback on our software and our tools. So it's perfect. I asked one of Arrow's best FAEs to audit what we deliver. In other words, Bridget, he's going to give his opinion on the quality of all the topics that we talk about in every one of our episodes.
All right. I'm cautiously optimistic here, but if this goes sideways, I'm reminding everyone that this was 100% your idea.
Well, I am super confident, maybe a little overconfident, as usual. All right, let me introduce our auditor, Andrei Cosara.
Andrei, welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrei Cosara. Like Kyle pretty well said, he didn't butcher my Romanian name. Thank you so much, Kyle, for trying so hard.
I tried.
Glad to be here. I'm an FAE with Arrow Electronics. I work with NXP. I've been in the electronics industry for 18, 19 years now. And I worked on pretty much all the major continents. I started in Romania and Eastern Europe. I worked in Austin, United States, as well as Malaysia for 4 years. So I've been using some of your devices along the way for sure. And now I fully focus on that in my new role. I love sports, being outdoors, being on podcasts, obviously. And I love a great book when I have the time.
We're so happy you're here. And with your qualifications, you're very qualified to be here and audit us today. So I know I'm a little nervous, but we're happy you're here. You mentioned you've been in the industry for a while. You've worked with a lot of developers over the years. Can you tell everyone a little bit about your role at Arrow and why you get such a unique perspective on NXP tools?
I've been supporting NXP for the past 3 years with Arrow Electronics. In my new role right now, I'm focusing on AI machine learning applications all across North America. So I get to work with customers from all of our major locations as well as every industry. And I get to play with all of the NXP tools related to microcontrollers, artificial intelligence, microprocessors, and even analog and sensors used to be one of my specialty as well as power supplies and PIMICs. So I pretty much been working with and recommending solutions using all of NXP's portfolio for the past 3 years.
All right. Well, Andre, I think all that proves that you are qualified to share your opinion with our listeners, specifically on all the NXP software and tools. I want everybody to know that you're termed sort of the champion or the dedicated NXP FAE. So you're at the top of the stack. So now that everybody's a believer, let's jump into the inspection. In your opinion, with your experience, what is the best piece of software provided for the products that fall under the MCUXpresso ecosystem?
I may be a little biased, but I really think EIQ Time Series Studio is a game changer for anybody designing with microcontrollers, especially if they're working with lots of sensors or good amounts of data. It enables products to take advantage of collected unidimensional data to create very lightweight machine learning models that can produce incredibly powerful insights into the state of systems and the physical world around the products.
That's a pretty good selection, but can you help some of our listeners understand what did you mean when you said unidimensional data? Can you provide an example of what that means?
Sure. Let's say you're designing a simple housekeeping microcontroller that just monitors some system power rails and maybe the state of some fans or temperature sensors. Just taking that existing design and using the data that is already collected and training some classical machine learning models on it using EIQ Time Series Studio, you can get a lot of new insights into the system with minimal effort. Normally, you would be able to tell if everything's up and running or if some parts of the systems are down or needs attention, right? But with simple machine learning models, you could also see if some of the system fans are getting clogged or may need some maintenance, or if the system current draw looks abnormal. which might indicate some erroneous system states or even malicious attacks, or if the power supplies are just struggling to keep up with the load and may need an upgrade. These models are so small and fast that you can very likely just add them to your existing design without needing to upgrade microcontrollers or without any significant impact on system performance. You can basically add a lot of value with virtually no cost.
And more importantly, Andre, you're talking about keeping all this analysis on the edge, correct?
That's right.
So you're not requiring the learning models to be accessed via cloud service. So if the developer wants to include this on their microcontroller, how have you seen the EIQ time series studio help them?
So in the past, this would have taken DSP engineers a few months of playing around with algorithms to figure out what's worth doing and testing it out. This would be a pretty intense process. With EIQ Time Series Studio, you need zero machine learning or DSP experience, and you can experiment with existing data before you even build a system to test out all the common classical machine learning models in a matter of minutes. I often do live demos of EIQ Time Series Studio for customers, and I can usually create a working demo for a classical machine learning model from scratch in under 30 minutes. Everyone's jaw drops when they see it for the first time. It's very entertaining to see in person.
I know personally there's nothing better than being able to share something quickly to a customer and having them stunned. So, Bridget and I are curious, what exactly impressed the customers this much that they would all have their jaws dropping?
I really like one of the latest features that just came out, the ability to take just snippets of waveform and create labeled data sets for classification tasks. The data logging and visualization features were always great, but you had to make sure every single waveform contained the state of the system you're trying to capture. But now that you can take just a snippet, you can go back and extract just the relevant pieces of data and don't have to stress about perfectly timing the acquisition every time.
This really is a phenomenal example because it makes Edge AI just so approachable. A lot of engineers still think AI means huge models and expensive hardware, but you're talking about taking sensor data they're already collecting and they're getting more value out of it. So, what's one development tool that's consistently getting a positive reaction from customers? The one you know they're going to leave thinking that was easier than I expected.
That's right. A lot of these tools are very easy to use. And I'm pretty sure I never had to call Kyle or anyone else at NXP for support on GUI Guider, for example. It's a great, super easy to use tool for building graphical user interfaces. I spent most of my career doing board level hardware design, so coding is probably not my strongest suit. But GUI Guider makes it very easy to create working GUIs, even with no prior experience. In fact, it's probably one of the first tools from NXP that I actually created some demos with as soon as I started working with NXP. I created a demo for controlling a three-phase motor from a small touchscreen that I used to take with me to workshops and trainings so I can show it to customers.
Very cool. And I know we've talked about GUI Guider in the past on the show. So, what part of GUI Guider would you audit as the most beneficial?
Definitely the drag and drop design workflow makes you start off confidently and you quickly feel like you can create something aesthetically pleasing and functional very easily. Then soon you want to experiment with animations and more advanced actions, and you start diving into the code. And then the generated code is very well structured and easy to follow, and the LVGL documentation is pretty thorough and easy to follow, even for a hardware guy like myself. I always felt like I know what I'm doing, and there was never any need to panic and call Kyle to get me out of trouble. Everything just worked with minimal effort. In fact, I liked it so much that I taught workshops on it in several branches across North America.
Well, not needing to call Kyle would probably make any tool my favorite or a fabulous day. But I know working directly with customers is a difficult job, and I appreciate how rewarding it is when the tool makes it easy to show that value directly to the customer.
It's not that bad talking with me. All right, Andre. I think it's important to highlight that you just mentioned the workshops that you teach. Listeners may not know this, but Arrow performs a lot of valuable workshops where they go into the local markets, they have these subject matter experts like Andre, and you teach these events to get these customers started with these new technology and tools. So thanks for bringing that up. It's something I did in the past, and it's just another very important service provided by Arrow.
Sure, Kyle. I personally really enjoy teaching the workshops. It's a great way to meet customers and to understand what applications they're working on. The customers love them too because it's an all inclusive way to learn a lot about artificial intelligence and NXP tools around microcontrollers and microprocessor. So look into those. I regularly post whenever we're hosting the next one. Would love to see more customers there.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been a very nice start to the audit. I'd say, Bridgette, that we've got a 100% approval rating, and we have the world's greatest ecosystem.
I know we want to make that claim right now, but hey, we're only halfway through the show, Kyle. So easy there. Let's not hand ourselves a perfect score just yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I am still confident we will get close to that 100%. Okay, Andrei, constructively, can you share some feedback where you and the Aero FAEs would like to see improvements in the MCUXpresso ecosystem?
One thing that has been challenging for myself and some of our clients is the transition from MCUXpresso to MCUXpresso for VS Code. While the coding capabilities and features in VS Code are all great, in VS Code, MCUXpresso is just a plugin. The complexity is larger, and NXP doesn't have full control of all the experience. In contrast with MCUXpresso IDE, where the user experience has been refined over the years to work seamlessly with NXP devices, in VS Code, not everything is as intuitive, and there are a lot more things you need to learn if you're new to VS Code. Many of our clients who are coming from MCUXpresso or even IAR struggle as they get started with VS Code because of that.
All right. Well, that's fair. I love audits. Now, transitioning users from the Eclipse environment to the VS Code environment has been a huge effort, Andrei. Both of those environments have strengths. What you're pointing out is that Eclipse was a strong platform for many, many years. The customers have grown to like those benefits and strengths. However, now we're working to make sure that we eliminate as many of those challenges that those Eclipse users are facing when they move into VS Code. You mentioned that it's been challenging for you and the customers. So maybe you've come up with a few tricks or you've found some ways to navigate some of the challenges working with VS Code. Can you share maybe one or two of those?
Sure. For example, sometimes just getting started with a small application can pose some challenges. VS Code might have some compilation errors that are not always descriptive, and customers can get frustrated. One thing that has really been useful for myself as I got familiar with VS Code was the ability to use the AI agents to troubleshoot and diagnose issues, these agents that are built into VS Code. If I got a compilation error that I was not familiar with, I was able to ask the agent to look into it and find the problem and even implement a fix. This was actually successful most of the time and helped me ramp up much faster and helped me understand what was happening behind the scenes. Once I show this feature to clients, they usually go from being frustrated to being impressed with how easy to use AI agents right inside VS Code, and they start to like it even more.
Yeah, the VS Code AI agent infrastructure is super powerful. Right now, Andrei, the team and I are working on enabling the customer to leverage this benefit in the default VS Code platform. Anytime you install VS Code, it automatically enables these AI agent platforms. So look for some announcements coming out, Andrei, that'll talk about the training and some of the tools that we're putting in for this AI enablement. It'll be coming out in the next couple of months. All right, that's fair feedback. It's good to hear more customers engaging in VS Code. We've heard similar comments from other developers making that transition from Eclipse into VS Code. But as I said before, the good news is we are fully committed to making the VS Code development environment as good, if not better, than the Eclipse environment was. We know what the benefits are, and we just need to make sure we enable those for the customers to use. Now, Andrei, since you brought up the topic of AI and machine learning earlier, how about you provide some constructive feedback in your audit on the challenges some customers face when designing with AI and machine learning applications with NXP devices and tools?
First of all, I just want to start by saying that NXP has the broadest selection of processors and microcontrollers for AI applications at the edge out of all of our suppliers. I actually have a nice graph where I show how much compute power you need for typical AI applications, and then how offerings from all of our suppliers map to these requirements. And NXP has the widest coverage. So that's great. That means that no matter what our customers are trying to do, it's very likely that there is a good solution from NXP that meets their needs.
That sounds like a nice start to a compliment sandwich, Andrei. But now hit us with the meat to your AI ML audit.
All right, all right. The challenge is that many of our customers struggle to pick the best part for their target application. Many customers are just trying to design hardware that is AI ready, but are not even sure what to do with AI. Those customers, we usually just look at parts that are close to what they're using today and maybe just check the box of having an AI accelerator, not really knowing if that's sufficient or overkill for what they might be doing. Other customers still think that running any form of AI needs an NVIDIA GPU, and some customers, especially some software centric companies that have not even heard of embedded hardware manufacturers like NXP, don't even know that you have offerings that they should be looking at.
You bring up a really good point, Andre. It's such a tall task trying to assist developers in device selection and really looking at right-sized AI. Sometimes they're just looking at performance, how many tops can I get? But like you mentioned before, maybe they're checking a box of having an AI accelerator, but it really is a challenge to look at the portfolio and pick the right-sized AI for the application.
That's right, Bridgette. It is complicated. For many customers, talking about AI solutions is not the same as talking about semiconductors in general. The conversation usually starts with educating or at least calibrating with customers on what is possible to do with AI and what range of machine learning models is feasible. Then, instead of jumping right into part selections, we discuss what they think they want to use AI for. Sometimes we actually recommend possible applications if they're new to the AI world. Talking through the applications, we usually discuss specific types of machine learning models and architectures, and only then we can get into discussing parts. The challenge doesn't stop here. Even customers that have some experience with AI may be looking at the wrong parts because AI performance is actually pretty difficult to gauge just by looking at a datasheet. We still have to rely heavily on practical experience and benchmarks in order to identify the optimal parts for a specific application.
Thanks for the insight, Andre. And as part of the action items from this audit, we'll follow up with you in brainstorms on way to make this easier. Before we wrap up, let's shift gears for just a minute. We spent a lot of time talking about NXP, but Aero brings a tremendous amount of value to developers as well. If one of our listeners is starting a new project tomorrow, when should they engage Aero and what can you help them with specifically?
Being the largest distributor of electronic components in the world, Arrow works with a lot of manufacturers and actually has experience working with all of them from all over the world and from all industries. Our applications engineers also get trained throughout the year on the latest and greatest technologies from all the suppliers we have on our line that we represent. So when you talk to an Arrow engineer, you can expect to get an up-to-date picture of the best solutions for their application from all the major suppliers. They also have access to information that is not readily available to the public that they can source.
So the customer gets someone to support their design questions. Now, what benefits might the customer not know about that Aero provides?
Not even some of our existing Arrow customers might know that very often we offer free engineering services like schematic reviews, code debugging, or benchmarking machine learning models and more. So that is a great way to get a lot of value from Arrow without having to pay for it. One great tool that I want to mention here is Arrow's digital test drive. We actually keep a board farm with some of the latest evaluation boards from several manufacturers, including NXP, that you can remotely access and evaluate. The boards come with all the prerequisites installed and ready to run using a remote access interface. For some of the high-end processor boards, that could be a couple of days worth of work that is already done for you. You don't have to worry about getting the latest kernels, BSPs, and installing them on a board and making sure everything works. Everything just works out of the box.
And so you mentioned you've worked a lot with our AI ML stuff. Does the digital test drive support some of those new applications and those new boards?
As a matter of fact, we now have the ability to also test machine learning models, benchmark them, and have them available through digital test drive. You can give us your custom model and we can convert it, compile it, and have it ready to run on the board of your choice. All you have to do is then connect remotely to the board and see actual live results on your model running on the actual hardware. This greatly reduces the time needed to explore options And it also makes it easier to get access to evaluation boards that might be expensive or difficult to source otherwise.
Well, we'll make sure to add the digital test drive to our episode notes. Lastly, Andrei, any final suggestions for the listeners today?
Lastly, don't forget that we have resources in every location around the world. So no matter where you design or where you manufacture, we have our resources that you can reach out to. I personally love working alongside customers to solve complex technical challenges, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to work on some truly awesome applications that our customers come to us for help with. I love learning and improving, and I spend quite a bit of time researching and learning from all the resources that are available to me as an aero engineer. I love working with NXP because of the great tools and products that they offer and because of their commitment to continuous improvement. I feel like NXP has a lot of competitive solutions that I can talk to customers about, which actually makes my job easier and more rewarding.
Oh, Kyle, I think you get a pass today on the audit.
I think so. I think it's safe to say we survived it. Andrei, thank you so much. That was some very good feedback. We learned what stood out most in your mind about the MCUXpresso ecosystem from your favorites like the EIQ and GUI Guider tools. Then you also gave some pretty candid feedback on where we can improve with VS Code and how we categorize our AI ML device selection. I want to commend you in the last few minutes. You did a great job of capturing the value that a distributor like Aero can provide. Aero is one of the largest global distributor, and it's important for the engineers that listen to this show that if they are evaluating products and they want to accelerate their designs, they should reach out to FAs like yourselves. That's exactly the kind of conversations that I love having on the EdgeVerse.
I definitely agree, Kyle. And Andrei, thanks so much for joining us. I have to admit, I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy being audited, but this turned out to be a really fun discussion. I think our listeners walked away with some great insights, not only into NXP software and tools, but also how working with a partner like Aero can help them get to market faster and with a lot more confidence.
Thank you both for having me. It was a pleasure sharing my experiences. Whether you're just starting a new design or looking to optimize an existing one, don't hesitate to reach out to your local Aero team. We'd be happy to help.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an EdgeVerse TechCast. And if there's a software tool, development topic, or an engineering challenge you'd like us to cover in a future episode, let us know. We're always looking for fun ideas.
And thanks everyone for listening. Keep building, keep innovating, and avoid a bad project audit by partnering with NXP and Aero. And we'll see you next time on the EdgeVerse TechCast.